I think Ashley's gonna try and hang out too. She's complaining about something. All women just complaining.
Well, to you.
Oh God. Oh, fucking YouTube likes to turn its own volume back up.
Yeah, it's always nice.
It's fucking insanity.
Thanks for the pleasantries, YouTube.
Yeah. The last thing I want to hear is myself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you just have to listen to me all the time.
I like listening to you. I miss when you had more shows.
Some days
I
I
have to
do
hear
too.
you more throughout the week than I do now. Now, anytime I listen to you, I got to hear myself too. That's bull.
That's true. I literally do no podcast without you. Sorry. We'll have to make sure we do the fucking Weird World Weekly after this.
I'm not seeing the YouTube actually broadcasting.
It is for me. Are you drunk?
I'm on the YouTube, what I assume is the YouTube channel, and I'm not finding.
I just went straight to the link.
Oh, there we go. Now I got it.
Like I imagine. Oh yeah, live streams. I imagine I got the email saying that we went live too. Yep. I got my
down from our page.
Like confirmation that I paid my electric bill.
Nice.
Yeah, not really.
It's important.
I don't like paying bills.
I don't like electricity.
Well, and what's worse is at our new house, I like they just send me a bill. And like now I have to make sure I don't fucking run out of propane so that I can heat myself.
Right. Yeah. No.
I found it's like a $200 gizmo gadget that connects to your tank and it'll send you email alerts when your propane's getting low. And I'm like, is $200? It's essentially a convenience fee. Like, is that $200 worth me not walking outside? But
I don't want to be in the middle of taking a shower
and you run out. Yeah.
Ready to head off to work and shit. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, all the heat and everything that you would like to have for this.
And the other thing is like, they basically say once it hits 20%, call, because they may not come out for like 3 days.
Right.
Because, we're out there now. But also in the middle of winter, if we get a shit ton of snow, I have to like walk through the yard to get to the tank to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking it might just be worth it. Like for this, I probably won't buy it until the fall, but
yeah, it's worth it. Anything that's gonna be one less thing for you to have to think about. You'll start to figure out how much you use at any given time.
Yeah,
but it's still not nice to be surprised, and you'll see it'll vary up from winter to summer and stuff. Have you guys thought about solar at all?
Yeah, it's just cost versus
right.
Ooh.
You got to figure out where you're at if it's gonna.
Well, yeah, it's some friends of hers have solar panels, and they like their lease cost on the generator and everything is the same cost as an electric bill for a month.
Right.
So
is that to me that's fine. I don't mind the idea of paying just to have my electricity be solar based versus PG&E based. As long as I'm dealing with the same bullshit of that company anyways. And not that PG&E has ever done anything bad to me. But just in general, the idea of using solar for myself to have lower impact on like electrical draws and stuff.
I had to look up PG&E. We're We Energies here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry.
No, but the benefit to that is that you have your bill is constantly one price. You know what I mean? Like based on if you have PG&E or We Energies, your bill changes based on how much you use. I know that Elon Musk is making shingles that have panels in them.
The roof, yeah, the $30,000 roof, and then you still need the storage center. It doesn't sound like. I mean, it can save you a lot of money in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Again, but that upfront cost. But
and that's the thing.
It's a lifetime warranty on the roof and everything else. And
if the solar generator lease cost wasn't like, hey, in 10 years you have to replace this thing, and the lease is 10 years long, I would be more apt. I mean, as time goes on, technologies will advance, and something at some point I would prefer to be on solar versus the grid, man.
Yeah, Brianna Wu was talking about it on this week's Rocket podcast about the Elon Musk solar roof thing. And she said that there was definitely things about it that she was attracted to, and there was things that there were still questions as to how it's going to work out. But you add the battery cavern thing and stuff that's going to store everything. Then you wind up getting an electric car to cut down on that portion of it. I mean, she didn't mention that part, but that is kind of going forward. Is
no, that's true.
When you've got solar and you provide your own electricity, and then it provides to your vehicle, and everything else starts to build up, that it's less of a problem. Although, goddamn, I hate an electric stove.
I hate. Oh, dude, the new house has an electric stove, and I'm like the first second big purchase is a new fucking stove and a line to the propane. Because I never liked electric stoves. I grew up with gas. When we moved in here, we bought a gas stove right away. In our
Unless
apartment,
it's induction, which is very different. But
I doubt it. I had to laugh when we were talking.
Pricing for that.
What's that?
You should look at pricing for that then.
For induction?
Induction versus running the propane line and the propane stove.
Well, right now, I apologize for anyone watching this video or just talking about adult things, but I'm 90% sure that the propane line runs directly underneath the stove already. They would just have to punch a hole in the floor and then shoot it up.
Hey, while you're down there, can you run Ethernet all through my house too?
Dude, already is.
Oh, sweet.
So he ran it for phone, but all I have to do is change in the basement. It's in like an old phone punch down block. I'll just pop them all out and put them on, just put, RJ45 connectors on it. I have a switch, and then I'll just change the plugs in the walls to RJ45 instead of the whatever RJ55, whatever a phone is, 65, 35. What the fuck is it?
I thought RJ45 was phone.
RJ45 was network. You're wrong.
No, I'm probably wrong. I don't do a lot of hardwiring. Otherwise, I would have a line going to my front. Well, I would have to go into my house, and I can't do that.
Yes.
I'm fat and claustrophobic.
We love you.
And every tight space is a little bit tighter with me in it.
RJ45. Oh, RJ11 is phone. RJ45.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you.
No. Some about RJ12 too. I don't know what that is. Oh,
that's what you use to tie up small children.
That's your shoelace, dummy.
Not for gross things, but to get them to sit still for a while.
Get them to shut up.
It's just time out.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right. We should probably actually record a podcast.
Is that what we're doing?
Eventually.
I just wanted some Met time.
Oh, that's fine. We can talk more about adult things.
Ashley, am I
drunk?
There's no Ink Geeks tonight, right? That's what they said last week. Because I was kind of bummed out. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss Ink Geeks if I'm over here doing this. But
I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
sorry.
They've been very nice in showing up on Elts Nerds recordings and stuff.
But never podcast here. I see how it is.
Well, I think it's based off of when it is. But and I
your mouth.
I got to listen. I got to watch last week. I came in towards the end of it, unfortunately.
Sorry, I'm cleaning my keyboard because my wife likes to eat sandwiches over the top of it.
But I think they said that they were taking this week off. They had a lot of stuff going on.
Oh. I know they went and saw Metallica. I was a little jealous.
Yeah, they saw Metallica. They did some wrestling on Saturday and the Metallica on Sunday. Is that what it was?
I think so. I don't know.
So it was like all your favorite stuff.
Yeah.
All they had to do was
one more than the other.
All they needed after that was the Thunder from Down Under, and Matt's a happy boy.
Oh boy. Well, I was pretty drunk Saturday, so I stood in a parking lot for 12 hours.
That is your real favorite thing.
Sold a bottle of beer for $250.
So insane.
Yeah. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, you were.
Oh yeah,
you were
because I
telling
saw
me.
you Sunday. Fucking A. Yeah, never mind.
I forgot that was a day of the week.
Sunday is my least favorite day.
That's when we hang out.
Oh, that I just meant because I have to go back to work the next day. It has nothing to do with our social interactions.
So my least favorite day isn't the day that I actually have to go back to work. It's the day before.
Yeah, because all day I'm just dreading
All the regret builds up.
all the regret, all the time I didn't masturbate. Like, God, I really should have been jerking off all weekend.
I mean, guys got to live.
Oh man. All right.
Next weekend's a holiday too, isn't it?
Yes.
A 3-day weekend.
Yes, I have.
I'm saying like you didn't time that for your move.
No, we totally. And I have Friday off, and probably gonna end up working from home Wednesday because we're probably gonna have appliances delivered.
Oh yeah.
It was originally gonna be Tuesday, and then I found out Alyssa's working from home, and I really want to get some quality time with the Friday the 13th game. So I'm gonna try and move everything to Wednesday, so I have a reason to work from home, and then.
And the internet's already hooked up.
Yeah, they're coming Friday between 3 and 4.
Sweet.
I called like a month in advance to make sure that it was the same day because I'm like, I have to have it. I don't know how to function without it.
Yeah, it's important. It is. Yeah. Your job kind of relies on it because you do work from home sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. That was, and then there was the 4 hours on the phone because Time Warner and Charter don't love each other.
Right.
Yeah. It's fucking
two sides of the same shitty ass coin, but never the two should meet.
What the fuck? My realtor said it's like a married couple that sleep in different beds. I think that's a pretty good way to talk. Pretty good way to do it.
Lucy and Ricky until it didn't.
Right to the moon. That's a different show, isn't it?
That is a different show.
All right. I'm like, Alice. No, that's not what we're talking about.
What?
I don't know.
No, you got the name right of Alice from Hollywood.
Yeah. Okay. You want to do this?
I mean, I'll do it.
I'd like to do it before I run out of this beer. I have to pour another one so I can talk about them both. Shut up, Corey. Welcome to episode 90 of the Podcast Terror, a production of the Galactic Network. I'm your host, Matt Stein. With me, as always, is Corey. I just want to cuddle Scott.
I just want to be held down underwater.
Corey wants to be a power bottom. Chortle them balls on the bottom.
I mean, if I can chortle with my ass, it's...
Man, have we ever talked about Bam Margera's I want to bend my dick around or bend the dick to my back to my ass song?
No.
We haven't?
No.
Oh, no. All right. So,
oh no is definitely where I'm going with it.
Literally, I believe the majority of the lyrics are, I want to bend the dick around the back of my ass so I can fuck myself.
I feel like Ben Margera has fucked himself plenty in his life.
I think he was really, really high on drugs. There's also my favorite line in the world is, I want to titty fuck my butt cheeks. Right? Yeah. So, let's see here.
What counts as the nipples in that situation? Is it just boils?
Probably. This is big pimples.
This is probably the worst opening we've ever done. I'm kind of thankful we don't have a guest.
Yeah, that's why we can get away with these things. All right, let's listen to some Bam Margera here. It's called Fuckface Unstoppable, Bend My Dick.
Fuck yeah. Bet you don't need no ultra nigga for your boo-boo got knocked the fuck out. I ain't going out like no punk ass bitch, cause that ain't where I am. Yo, check it. I would've bent my dick to my ass so I could fuck myself. I would've bent my dick around the back of my ass so I could fuck myself. Oh, hell no! To a big,
here we go.
You know it's the best when you shit at the mess to a big ass, thick ass dick. I'm gonna titty fuck my butt cheeks. Yeah, that's a stick. Not a code to get in the gate.
All right, that's enough. That's a real song that came out.
I feel like
2013.
World owes an apology to Corey Feldman right now. I think that
the difference
is we've been giving him for his crappy ass music, and then that exists.
But Bam Margera didn't go on the Today Show and try to dance around like Michael Jackson. He He just did
But Corey
drugs.
Feldman can dance around like Michael Jackson. That's one of his only redeeming qualities as a human being, is that he can do that. He actually is a good dancer. He's just still doing it is the problem. It was cute when you were 10, said Michael Jackson to Corey Feldman, but it's not. It's not so great anymore.
Yeah. Let me see here. You know what's the best? When you shit out the mess to a big ass, thick ass dick.
Well, that's just beautiful.
I want to titty fuck my butt cheeks. Yeah, that's the stick.
That is the stick.
That's fucking poetry.
Word to your mother.
All right. If you are actually still listening to this podcast,
that word is you should have dropped this.
Yeah, you should have ran away a long time ago. All right. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact information, subscription links, go to gncast.com/pot. Hey, hello, jeweler. You can chat with us on our Slack channel during our shows at gncast.com/sign up. And while you're there, subscribe to our newsletter. Before we do the What You Drinking, I kind of want to explain. So we're recording this in the past. If you're listening to this on iTunes, this is like a while ago, because
we've never recorded it not in the past. Do you know how time works?
No, how does time work? How do magnets work? How the fuck do magnets work?
When a boy magnet and a girl magnet love each other very much, they both turn off Bam Margera's goddamn song.
And then the Insane Clown Posse get confused?
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. We're recording this more so in the past than usual. Corey's a fucking prick. Because I just moved. I literally just moved. I'm probably unpacking boxes and swearing under my breath as you're listening to this. So we're not going to do news because it would be really old.
Because we have to save all our news stories for last week's show,
which is
Melissa
really
and Randy
in
day after tomorrow's show.
Yeah, in 2 days.
This is already fucking with my brain, man. Let's just understand. We don't know where we are at, who we are, anything. I could be dead.
And that's what I'm saying.
Could already be reelected. It's a shit house.
This podcast might come out and Michael Jackson has been resurrected from the dead. That's possible.
But he's decided that all he's doing is Bob Dylan covers from here on out.
They may find out that Donald Trump is a big walking Cheeto.
We know.
Well, you know.
How far in the past are we?
I don't know. What day is it?
I really don't know. I stopped. You lost me.
All right. Anyways, we're gonna do a short review of an upcoming short from our future guest, who's on in 2 weeks. If you're, he's oh boy, he's on.
Already more complicated than it needed to be.
Yeah, he's going to be on an episode that comes out in 2 weeks from today. If you're listening to this, so it'll release June 13th. So he's a director. He's a super fucking nice guy. He's him and I have been talking quite a bit, and I'm really excited to have him on. So he was kind enough to let Corey and I view his upcoming short called The Audition early. So we're gonna review that real quick. No spoilers though, because I don't want to be a dick. It's not out. I expected you to make fun of me because I said I didn't want to be a dick. And then after that, we're going to get into The Void, which was the originally planned movie. And we're going to spoil the shit out of that. And I watched it incredibly drunk, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what I watched. I watched it last night in my hotel room. I was out of town for work, and it was like 5 o'clock. I was already drunk, and then I went back to my hotel and had another. It was a mess. I was asleep by 8.
You don't. I think we're on episode 90, technically 89.
Yeah.
No one is surprised that you had alcohol in you in any of these reviews.
I have a constant blood alcohol content at this point. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, Corey, what you drinking?
I am literally just drinking Lipton iced tea. I came home and I had my leftover tea in the fridge from last night that I poured while I was reading my book that I am trying to get through before we have our guest from next week on, which I am enjoying thoroughly, but I don't want to talk too much about it until he's on the show with us.
Yes. You know how difficult it was for me to be like, all right, this is episode number 90. but we're really recording it before 89. So this is our next week. Whereas our next week that we're going to record in 2 days will actually be what we just
89.
did.
Right.
There's not enough drugs in the world to make sense of what we're doing. Awesome. Well, I have I'm dying. Some last weekend I was down in Indiana for the Dark Lord Day release with some friends from Kansas. They brought me a lot of beer, including this barrel aged sour from Boulevard called Show Me Sour. It's pretty good. It's not as sour. I had a discussion with a bartender last night about sours being too sour, not sour enough, which means nothing to Corey, and I'm talking to myself.
No, I'm interested because I've never, as far as I know, had a sour beer. I've had beers that made me feel sour after drinking them.
Yeah, so a lot of times it's just like your standard beer, and then they use souring bacteria to make it sour. So there are some that literally like make your face pucker, and I don't know bueno. Like I like fruity, like the fruitier sours. So this one's it's kind of smoky, which I'm guessing is coming from the barrels, which I'm going to assume were, whiskey. It doesn't say what kind of barrels are on here, just says barrel aged. Yeah, it's pretty fucking good. And then after that's done, I'm going to completely destroy all of my taste buds with Founder's Curmudgeon. It's got a little angry looking old man on it. It's an old ale, which is good as fuck. It literally has 100% of the flavors in the world with molasses, and it's aged in oak. So
wow, just calling it Curmudgeon, it already sounded like it was named after me. And then everything that you just described, if I drank beer at all,
molasses
sounds kind of wonderful.
Yeah, I really, really like old. I like old ales and Scotch ales a lot.
Yeah, that sometimes I feel like maybe I could have. No, I can't have a beer.
No, I have a lot. If you ever want to come over and help me murder some.
Yeah, I was gonna save that treatment for you and your wife, but okay. Hi,
Nicole. I've had Curmudgeon before. The Show Me Sour I've never had before, which is why I had it first, because Curmudgeon will ruin my taste buds, and I wouldn't be able to taste the sour. That's why I did it in the order in which I've done it. And fucking sours are good. Calm down. Ashley, Founders. Yeah, Founders has a bourbon barrel aged IPA that came out, and I foolishly bought a bottle for $2 more than I really should have. But such is life.
I drank a $5 root beer a couple weeks back. So I mean, sometimes you spoil yourself.
I bought a $12 bottle of coffee.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking worth it. It's called Necromancer. I drank it and I could see through time. And
as you discussed when we did Rosemary's Baby, is you've had $250 bottles of beer going through your.
I won't get to drink that till September.
Yeah,
because I sold mine. But yeah, it's all in what you're willing to pay for it. So it is what it is. All right, let's. As much as I'd love to sit and talk about beer, but let's talk about the audition, not the void, the other one with the. If you're not familiar, get learnt. Get woke. Is that what the kids say? Get woke.
I don't know that any kids say it like you.
But like,
and I know you're literally half my age, so it.
You're not 64.
I might be.
What the fuck? Alyssa said something. She asked what you did for work, so I told her, and I said, "Well, he's like 2 years in the past." She was, "We've already lived those 2 hours." And I said, "Yeah," and he's like 12 years older than me. And that was it. That was a shitty story.
Were the hours better for you?
Not really. I sat in a chair and watched Catfish.
I was here looking forward to this show.
I look forward to our, like, literally the worst part of my week is like right when we're done, because that is the longest period until I get to hang out with you again.
Yeah, I miss you too.
If you were on Grindr, I would grind you.
If I was on Grindr, I'd be way too popular.
Just beating the dicks off with a stick. Like, no. No.
That's what you're into.
I'm desperately trying to find the written description on this movie because I don't want to butcher it.
All right. An actress thinks she's about to audition for the opportunity of a lifetime, but things aren't what they appear to be when she wakes up in a room tied to a chair with cameras pointed at her. Now she is the victim of a director who will make sure she gets the scene right by any means necessary.
That's just Friday Nights for Corey.
That is totally... Am I the actress? Am I the director? Or am I the chair? I feel like
you're the chair because I'm going to put my butthole on you.
That's exactly how it was built.
Nicole said you're going to beat the dicks off with another dick. That turns into dickception because now you're just beating dicks with dick. I can't. That's going to be like the when we're recording this conversation. It's too much for a Friday night. Yeah. So it's 20 minutes long. I don't remember if I said that. So it's short. So it gets.
You should mention the person who let us know about it. The director and writer is Anthony Rouse.
Yes, thank you. Kind of dumb. Yeah, and Anthony will be on the June 13th episode, as I mentioned earlier. So looking forward to that. One of my favorite things about this is that there's no fucking around. It goes from 6 to midnight, quick.
Yeah, it's a 20-minute film, so obviously it's short enough that you're going to try to see the thing complete. But we've even reviewed some short films on here before. Be it there was something we watched recently that was a YouTube series that was doing an anthology thing about the guy who was following the stories from the radio, but then they had short stories that went with it. Those were short, but I don't think that they cut to the chase as quickly as what this did. Also, some of the what is it? The stuff that we did, the Slender Man.
Oh, the creepypasta
stuff. Some of those things went way too goddamn long for what.
That's true. And the nice thing is your backstory comes, and I use the term backstory loosely because there isn't a ton of backstory, but it's not needed. It comes like halfway through. There's the director is talking to the interviewer, where you kind of get an idea of what is fucking wrong with this guy. So as soon as it starts, like you're in the shit.
Yeah, the director is kind of a mix of Donny Osmond with Patrick Bateman.
I was gonna say Patrick Bateman, yeah.
Absolutely Patrick Bateman-esque, but
what kind of business card do you think you'd have?
I believe it would probably be something with a texture to it.
See, I'm thinking bone with a slate gray raised text, but he fucks up and gets it in Times New Roman.
Dingbats.
Yeah, because he seems a little young, probably not the smartest ship off the old block.
Well, he's probably going to have to get it on one of those sites where they'll print them for free, but there's advertisements for the site
Vista
on the back.
Print. Yeah. When you flip it over, it's a vape store advertisement. You can fucking blow plumes all day. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So I don't want to spoil anything. So I'm trying to choose my words here carefully, but
yeah, it stars Jackson Trent and Holly Beth Gourlay, who is a young Scottish actress I saw, and then in the story he gets interviewed. So the interviewer is played by Joel David Taylor. It's like one of the things that I'm not huge into is the torture porn movies and stuff like Hostel. And I was afraid that it was going to go towards that, and it doesn't quite cross the lines.
Oh, it skirts the line.
Yeah, it gets very close to it, but it's not so vile that I like had to pull myself away from it or anything.
Yeah,
and we know that I'm sensitive because I'm just made of preciousness and
unicorn farts
and dicks apparently. So
farts and penis. There was the one thing I do want to say real quick because I don't want to cut you off, but there's like a brief period where you're not quite sure if the guy is insane or what's happening, and that was kind of cool too because you kind of know what's coming, but there's still that like little glimmer of doubt.
Yeah, you kind of hope it's interesting because the way that it's filmed is that it could very much be that he's filming it in a way that it could just be that this is the movie, and that's the way that it gets presented, at least to the interviewer. So it's solid as a piece of independent filmmaking. I think it's a very good example of the kind of thing that you can do on a not huge budget. The budget was estimated at $500.
Oh, I didn't even see that. That's insane. What he accomplished with $500.
It has some good talent in it. Has obviously a solid story. It tells a complete story, I think, in the time that it has allotted, which is very good. So it completes itself. I admire what he was able to do.
Oh yeah,
and I'm looking forward to talking to him and finding out more about how he approaches storytelling in his films.
Assuming we don't offend him and he leaves within the first 5 minutes.
I mean, we'll do our best to offend him. That's how we roll.
Hands down a possibility. I'm surprised no one has left yet.
I mean, I'm gonna try to hold back a little bit to try to keep him around.
No, I think we're good. I did invite him to hang out in the chat and tell us a dick joke, but
that's good.
He's at work, so I don't know how many dick jokes he can be sending to us. I also hope if he is listening to this that it is in headphones and not full-blown speakers. If speakers may have upset someone.
Yeah.
Dicks.
Grinder.
Grinder. Meat grinder. All right. So yeah, like I said, I don't want to say too much. It's a short, so there isn't a ton.
And it gets released on June 30th.
Yep, June 30th, 2017. It'll be coming out. I'm not sure of all of the release platforms, but we will certainly we'll get that from him when he's here on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and he's got some other stuff out there too. So if you want to look him up and check out and see where you can find some of his other things, we'll talk more about it when he's on.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm really curious to hear what his other projects are. I know I see a lot of his stuff pop up on his face space because that's obviously how I interact with him. But I do want to get my hands on his other stuff. So
yeah,
like I said, Audition June 30th. Go fucking watch it in the future because we're recording this in the past. So right now it's May. It's going to come out in June. That's a month.
It'll still be your future because it's not coming out at the end of June. I have a slide rule somewhere.
Maybe an abacus. We need a fucking protractor and a sheet of paper and like a gel pen.
40 beans.
That's
something.
Yeah, we need 14 space beans.
Are we doing this in base 8? I need to know.
Base 8. Oof, it's been a while since I did base 8. We're gonna need 1 fetid goat and 12 clitori. This is how we're gonna.
It's okay. It doesn't matter how many clitori you bring. We're not going to be able to find them, according to public opinion.
I saw the South Park. It's in a field behind a tree.
I just look for the man in a little boat.
All right, let's.
Brady.
I would have liked to have read a review here. That would have been a nice segue into the into the fact that Nicole's giving us a face. To the fact that we have to talk about another movie, but no one likes to review our show. It really hurts my feelings. I lie awake at night not getting iTunes reviews.
It's true. I get it if you're holding back, if you're just saying, I want to wait until they get to episode 90. Well, here it is. Here's your chance. 90 episodes. Yep. And that's not even including the pot shots. There's Halloween specials that didn't really have numbers. So I mean, really, you're kind of slagging. But we're gonna forgive you that. We're gonna let you have your moment, and your moment is now, my friends. Get on iTunes.
Now's the time.
Get on Google Play. Talk about the Podcast of Terror. Tell us, please, what you think. What you like about it. If you want Matt's Grinder username. That will help us. We will give it to you.
Yep.
For the review. We're not shameless. No, we are shameless. And we're also a little fat. And so just come on over and talk to us and say, hey, I like the Podcast of Terror. I want to give it. I want to give a few stars. I can
5.
do that. It's free. Five is
you know
good.
what? If you want to give it 3 stars, that's fine. Just tell me why.
Yeah.
Like, just tell me why you don't think we're worth 5. I did.
And I don't get mad about that kind of thing.
I totally get mad. I'm really butthurt about a lot of things.
A little bit. You
Sensitive.
Fragile eagle. But but hey, the person who gave us 3 stars, at least it showed that we had somebody
That's true.
who checked out the show, which I appreciate in and of itself. Feedback is great. Feedback is important.
Yeah. I did want to point out when you said Shameless before, I was apparently like a mile from the Shameless house last week. And that's not a place that a white kid from suburban Wisconsin wants to be.
Aren't they all white on that show?
Yes, but South Chicago is a very unsafe place.
I mean, I grew up in Detroit, and now I live very close to Oakland. So
I grew up in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and moved to Appleton, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're really white.
Yeah. When I go to Green, well, I don't want to say that. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm pretty white. 3 months out of the year, though, I get swarthen, nice, healthy bronze tan.
I mean, I am practically see-through. I'm Depeche Mode white.
Oh boy, flock of seagulls. All right, let's talk about The Void.
We are going to talk about The Void. Now, I know that I've mentioned this movie a couple of times.
This was actually recommended by a listener.
Yes.
And I feel like a dick
because you don't remember the email.
I don't. All right, by time, I'm going to find the email.
So The Void was filmed in 2016. It actually was a successful, not necessarily Kickstarter, but a Kickstarter-esque thing where people went and helped fund the film. And then it was released in theaters, I think, just last month. But because of the distribution, the way they had it set up, it was released in theaters and to video on demand at the same time. So we wound up checking it out through Comcast on demand, and we saw the trailer for it, and we're like, we need to see this. My wife and I. My wife is the huge horror fan of our home, as I think I've said many a time here. And we were like, yeah, we got to check this out. So the description is basically, it's very much a film in the style of great classic horror movies from the 80s. A lot of John Carpenter influence seems to be in it. I also took some Clive Barker influence in it as things that I saw. It does wonderful work with practical effects. The guys who created it and worked on it have done stuff for Trauma, and they did, I think, short for the ABCs of Death, the second one, if I remember correctly. I think they did the W for that. But this was where they usually focus on comedy and horror together. This is just straight up a horror movie. And I think it's the first one of that type of film for them. And yeah, we'll get into what we thought of it.
Very true. I can't find the email. I'm really sorry. It was a very super fucking nice email too.
It was. We may have actually read it on the air before.
No, we totally did, but I can't really. We can't pause this so I can go back and listen to it. We totally read it. God,
damn electricity.
So fucking stupid.
So Matt, you want to talk about it?
No, I'm just stupid. Stupid little.
That does not stop you from giving your opinions of things on the internet before.
That's true. So you and I actually talked while I was watching this.
Yeah. What was it that you said to me?
And that's what I'm about to say. So I was really more into the cult aspect of it, and then it got alien-y, and I kind of got upset.
You were expecting it to be about one thing, and it really was.
No, it was, but just by looking at the cover,
the focus changes.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, like, when you look at the poster, you could see that it's an alien. It's going to be an alien movie, or a monster movie, I should say, not a cult movie. But when you start seeing all the people in the white with those triangles on their face, like, I got a little pumped, and I'm like, oh, it's some like fucking crazy cult bitches.
Yes.
And
Okay, so let's give a little bit of a rundown of the film, at least where it starts. It starts out with a scene at a farmhouse. Two people are running from it, trying to escape to other people. One of them is a woman. She gets shot, and then
yeah. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah, and the guy escapes. The woman then gets set on fire by the two pursuers, and
She probably
they
had it
keep.
coming.
Well, you know,
I actually don't know. Maybe
probably didn't bring him beer, and so they keep going to track the person who got away. So we are already in the midst of out in the middle of nowhere, rednecks with guns coming to get you, and that's a good start to any movie, I think. We meet who is essentially our hero of the film, which is a local deputy sheriff, I think, who finds the guy who ran off from the barn, takes him to the local hospital where his ex-wife works. And the local hospital has recently had a fire, has a very skeletal staff of people working there at this point in time. He brings him in there, and there's only a few people there. There is the head doctor. There is his ex-wife, the nurse. There is another nurse. There is a student nurse. There is one person who is a patient, and then there is a young girl and her grandfather. The young girl is pregnant and is going to be giving birth, so she is still to be checked in, but she is another patient there. And that's about it. Pretty much right after that, things start going fucking crazy. We see a woman tear off her face, kill somebody else, and then start turning into a monster. And it just goes on.
Yeah, what did she say when she was cutting her face off? Like
she said, "This is not my face.
This is not my face." Yeah,
this is not my face. Which was very reminiscent to me of a scene from Clive Barker's Nightbreed, which was when the guy is trying to prove that he's one of the monsters from Midian. He goes to cut his face off. He actually pulls off his scalp instead. But it's the same premise, is that, like, this isn't my real face. This isn't who I am. So it felt familiar, but not in a copycat kind of way. It's just like, oh, all right. I kind of recognize, if they're trying to pull from anything, that's what they're pulling from.
Yes.
The cop, after he shoots the nurse who tears off her face and kills the other guy, falls down, has a seizure, and has a vision. And the vision he has, he doesn't realize, is of the future, and it's basically where the night is going to take us, of creatures and space and all these things. And I don't remember if he sees the guys in the robes then or not. But as he gets up, he goes to try to call for his backup. A state trooper shows up as well and kind of takes over the investigation, takes his gun. But as he tries to call his people, he can't get anybody on the phone. All the phones seem to go dead and get fuzzy. He goes out to call them on the radio in his car. As he's getting out of that, that's when we see the first of the cultists in the white shredded robes and the hoods with the black triangle on it. One of them stabs him. He makes his way back inside, and then the two guys from the farm show up, and everything kind of goes crazy from that. The head doctor winds up getting killed.
Yeah, and then they go to the basement. Stuff happens in between there, but the point at which I really was like, what the actual fuck is happening, is when they go to the basement and then the triangle glows. Then they all walk through the triangle, and then there's a guy that reminded me of like a weird Cenobite.
There was very Cenobite stuff to this. That was the other thing, is I saw some Hellraiser to this in the peeling off of the skin, the looking like a kind of god that is trying to bring this hell to earth through this void portal. He's trying to conjure out something from this other dimension and bring it there. He's also trying to fix what is death and life. and trying to the guy, it turns out, is the head doctor. The head doctor has been organizing or became a leader of this cult. Now, I don't know how much of the cult owes to him precisely, but he is the leader of it at this point. He certainly seems to have the most power out of everybody. And the reason being is that years ago, he had lost his daughter. His daughter was killed. And so he's trying to bring her back to life. Similarly, the cop and his ex had lost their son during childbirth. And so they have their own issues with the loss of a child. And the doctor keeps trying to entice them both into helping him, while not giving them a lot of choice in the matter, by saying, I can bring you back your child. Or later on when he kills the ex-wife, he's like, I can bring you back Allison. And it's all basically like, I've learned how to cheat death, or I've learned how to defeat death and bring the dead back to life. When we see his daughter return towards the end, I don't know if that's exactly the life that she wanted to return as.
Yeah,
it looked kind of like the alien from Aliens 4, the alien Ripley human mix character, where the face, you could almost see a human style face to it, but the rest of the thing was very bestial and ugly. It's the practical effects on this are very Cthulhu-esque, except when we're talking about the basement with the room full of people that the doctor wouldn't let die, which was straight up out of
weird
13 Ghosts and some other shit that was just all kinds of fucked up. There's a scene with someone who has been trying to kill themselves by stabbing their head against this pipe, and the pipe going through this giant, now gaping hole in their head, and they're just doing it over and over again, trying to put themselves out of their own misery, and they can't die. And the doctor said something about them. They all want to die, but I won't let them. And that scene is just fucking hideous.
Yeah. I think I was eating pizza at this point. I remember.
I think I was eating leftover roast.
I was got a little drunk. The pizza place across the street closed at 9. It was like 8:45. I fucking put shoes on and ran over there. I was that guy.
So now you were disappointed about.
I wasn't disappointed. I just wish it would have. I wish it would have been a better movie.
Well, you felt like the cult wasn't as big of a part of it, or the exploration of the cult wasn't gone enough. And I agree. The movie story moves pretty fast because it all takes place in one night, and it introduces a lot of characters and a lot of different motivations. And it's not like there's a huge mystery. We meet the doctor. He seems okay. We meet the nurse. She seems okay until she tears her face off and kills another guy. But as we see them kind of like change and shift, and when the doctor is killed, he comes back. But we learn about his motivations past him being dead and past him basically kidnapping Allison. And we find out that he runs his cult, but we don't see any of the stuff about the cult at that point. We just know that he was a part of it because there are Polaroids of him with them. And he starts confessing over the phone to Daniel about why his motivations are the way that they are. And so the cult stuff, it seems like there's probably a huge story that could be explored with them. Certainly if there were sequels or prequels or anything else, we could get a lot more of that. The cult were the people who ran the farmhouse that the two guys at the beginning, who turned out to be good guys, they ran that farmhouse and they enticed people in who had drug problems or anything else that wouldn't be missed, use them for sex acts to help power their magic, and then cause people to change and cause them to basically either go nuts or become a part of the things, or they sacrifice them. So there's a lot of that stuff that we never get to see or experience in the context of the film, which is a little disappointing. If the film was longer in that regard or concentrated more on that, then there may have been more of a payoff for that portion of the story later on. Otherwise, it's almost unnecessary. The cult portion looks really cool, but doesn't feel needed with the summoning of a Cthulhu type monster, cheating death, opening a portal to the void or whatever else. But in the broader, like, let's just throw every fucking thing in there and do every cool thing that we can think of to make this story feel huge. And that way I appreciate it because they don't hold anything back.
Yeah, don't tease me with a cult story and then just provide blue balls.
Yeah, also we don't get a lot of idea as to what the void opening that he's opening to really is, this other dimension that they wind up going through at the end. We don't have a lot of experience as to what that is supposed to mean or how it all pans out. When it closes up, after they go through it, we see that Simon and Kim are able to escape from everything, and everybody else in this place is already pretty much dead at that point, including the cultists who were in the building. All get kind of stomped on by the daughter, among other things. And so it kind of puts too clean of a bow on it at the end for those two characters, whereas everybody else is just, no, we're all fucked. So again, in that regard, it's like not enough given to us pertaining to that portion of the story. I still think everything all together is exciting and interesting to watch. Certainly the tension was very high. The effects, as far as the use of practical effects and the creature creation and the room and everything else was stellar. And this is the kind of shit that I love to see in a modern movie, especially one that still has kind of a throwback feel. It seemed to get so much of that right that while there's a lot of story that I would have liked to see explored further, or saved, or the promise of we're going to get more of this coming up, I still wasn't disappointed in the movie at all.
And I could probably say this for 90% of the movies, but I'd like to go back and watch it when I'm sober.
You probably should. This was my second time seeing it, so I got to pay attention to it with a different eye this time. And I maybe enjoyed it more the first time just because I just had no idea what to expect. But I loved this movie. I love it in the sense that this is the kind of horror movies I want to see happen more. Because it was original while still having evocative tones to things. Certainly the creature aspects was reminding me of Carpenter's The Thing. The opening of the void and the premonitions of the future and stuff, while they weren't explored fully, reminded me of some of the confusing but brilliant aspects of The Prince of Darkness from Carpenter. This was so many ways a love story to Carpenter's films, with, like I said, some Clive Barker thrown in. And I really want to see what else these guys who made this are going to do, if they're going to follow this up at all. But this is a movie that just kind of like came out of nowhere and kind of blew me away in the way that like a movie like Pontypool, which we reviewed very early on, did, because you didn't know what to expect from it. You didn't know you were going to get from it. There was no realization until you just see it play out. And I felt so good in the fact that they were leading me to something and I had no idea what was coming up next.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. I can't say I didn't like this movie. It's just it panned out to be different than what I expected.
Yeah,
and different than what I wanted, because
you had your own idea of what to expect, and you were looking forward to exploring that film. And we just did a review about a cultish film with Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
But not a super cool, let's wear white robes with black triangles on our faces cult. The imagery, I think, it made it seem like there's something so cool there. And do we get to see that? And what they mostly did is they wandered up and they said that they're not even coming in. They're just trying to keep us from coming out. And that's
a little
stupid because we don't get to see enough of them.
Right. Like, tell me why these people like advocates for the opening of a void, but if they are, why? Why do they exist? Tell me why they exist.
It seems like they all want to get this, like, defeating death thing.
Yeah,
that's probably end game. But I want to see how they were. Did they exist before the Doctor became a part of them, or did they exist after? How did he entice them all? Were they locals? Is there a global organization of them? And that's the kind of thing that I think could definitely be explored if there's more of this.
And that's what I was going to say, is maybe with the unexpected success of this movie, there will be a second or a prequel. I would kind of like it if there was.
I really want there to be. And while the movie definitely made more than its budget back in theaters, it had only hit about 50 theaters. It wasn't expected to do a lot in that. So I'd like to know how the movie did as far as video on demand, and when it gets released to DVD and Blu-ray, how it's going to do there. Because I think this is one of those hidden gems that people probably don't know. Although the ratings for it have not been stellar. They've been okay. They've been kind of middle of the road to a little above average. And I think most of that is based off effects used in things. Mm-hmm. But I just think that this is one of those things that if people watch it with
don't get drunk and
lower
watch it,
expectations.
Right?
Yeah, definitely don't get drunk and watch it, or get really drunk and watch it and then rewatch it later on when you're sobering up.
So there's that.
But I think if they come at it without heightened expectations and they just check it out, especially if they don't know a lot about it, they're going to really like it. Which, if you're that person, you probably shouldn't listen to this review first.
Nicole in our chat is throwing out Void 2 names, and the second is actually my favorite, but when I started the sentence, that one didn't exist. She's come up with the Void 2 Voidier, or 2 Void 2 Tentacly.
Oh God.
2 Void for y'all. Hers is way better.
2 Void, thanks for everything, Julian Newmar.
If we go with the Void 2 Voidier, then it needs to be Void 3 Voidiest.
If you're gonna say Void, then I think it needs to be Void the Bowels of Hell.
Void the Bowels of Hell. Or the prequel, Voided.
Yeah.
Like when you bring one too many packages of turkey to the...
And when they finally just wipe out the other planet, you just call it Devoid, which is also the French version.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I'm satisfied with the amount we've talked about. Do you want to rate it, or do you have other things you'd like to bring up?
Just mention the fact that the cast is really great. For a lot of people that I didn't know.
Very true.
I knew Ellen Wong she played Knives in Scott Pilgrim, and I knew the guy who played Mitchell, which was the other cop, Art Hindle, from Porky's, of all things. I'm like, I'm looking at this guy's face. I'm like, I know that guy. How do I know that guy? Oh, because you were in that movie that was such a source of masturbatory fantasy for no reason. Not you specifically, but yeah, there was like, that's right. You were in Porky's. Oh, what a great shower scene.
Nicole has another one. Void 2 Alien Boogaloo.
That's hot.
That's my new favorite. I don't know. I didn't think you could top 2 Void 2 Tentacly, and then the Alien Boogaloo, you did it.
There's the point where the tentacle monster is dancing on the ceiling and like going up and down the walls and stuff. Yeah, from the music, the atmosphere, everything about this hit the right notes for me as a film that is maybe not like the work of horror genius, but just exactly the kind of horror movie that I want right now. And I want to see more stuff like this.
I want to point out that I didn't realize this was an Indiegogo that raised $82,000.
Yeah, $82,000, and so yeah, that's what I wasn't sure if it was Kickstarter or what, but I knew that it was something where it got funded.
Crowdfunding, kids. The quickest way to your dreams.
And these guys had at least been established. They had done other stuff before, but certainly there's an importance to, if you want to see and support great horror movies,
There's a shit ton, and I personally love crowdfunding.
Yeah,
to a point. I crowdfunded a game in February of 2012, and I still don't have it.
There's a couple of things that I haven't gotten paid off on yet, but there's one of them I know is going to happen, and I have absolute faith in people doing it, and that's the one that I've waited the longest for. But I'm okay with that. It is a thing of you got to expect that the money that you're putting into it may never go anywhere. Just know that going in.
I fucking bought Star Citizen, which is a PC intergalactic flying game.
I was going to say, you're not allowed to buy people. I mean, maybe in Wisconsin.
Bought a person.
Exactly.
And people a game came out, but you can't really play it. You can sit in your spaceship. And I know people that spend thousands of dollars on this game and just there's no game yet. And there's no guarantee that this game will ever come out.
Yeah, and honestly, if that's told to me at the beginning, I would feel a little bit different because I still want to support people's dreams. But you never know. Circumstances change. Things go nuts. Price of shipping overseas goes up crazily after you've done it. You never know how it's going to work out. I think a lot of people do it with the best of intentions, but I certainly know people have started crowdfunding things and just took the money and ran.
Yeah,
I've never experienced one of those things where I've funded somebody who did that, but it's always disappointing when things don't go the way that they want them to or expect them to.
Right. Hey, Corey.
Yes, sir.
On that note, let's go to the Fap Cave. All right. We're going to rate this motherfucker. We should probably rate both. I don't want to not give the audition the attention it deserves. I didn't even mean to call it one of our categories. All right, the old FAP scale. The 3-tiered scale of masturbatorial genius. First of all, we go 0 to 5. We'll start off with the feature, which if you're new, the feature is going to be the story. Was it original? Was it interesting? How was the acting? Let's do... How do you want to do this? Do you want to give both scores for both movies and start with the audition, do the void?
Let's do the audition first and then do the void.
Circle back.
Yeah.
All right. After you. You're first. There's no guess. You go first.
Yeah, that's harsh. For the feature, as far as the audition, I think it was good. I think it was a solid effort. It jumps into something that felt familiar to me in the execution, but I think it executed well with what it is. I'm gonna go 3.5.
Ah, nice. I give it a 4. I mean, it's a really solid. I hate to use the term outing, but it's a solid outing. Anthony did a great job with what he had, which was a 20-minute short. You get the sense of what is happening and how fucking crazy the director is, and I really like that. I give it a 4. I can't remember if I said my number, but 4.
No, I should actually, because I wasn't thinking about the acting. I like the acting. I think that the actors, obviously still young, probably still go. I'm going to up it to 4 because I thought they did a pretty good job. Even though I'm telling you that one guy just reminded me so much of Donny Osmond for some reason.
That's terrifying.
Which maybe makes it creepier. Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny. Next up is the attention. It's going to be your rewatchability. Would you purchase it? Would you recommend it to friends? Core diggity.
I mean, that's sort of what we're doing already, isn't it?
I believe that is literally what we're here doing.
Since it's a 20-minute short, it's kind of hard to say, would I buy this? On the other hand, what I would buy is buy into more of his work. I would like to see more stuff that he's producing and making. So in that regard, I'm going to go 4 again.
You kind of win. I gave it a 3.5, but for mostly the same reason. Is when I saw this, my first thought was, what else has he done? I need that in my life. From talking with Anthony, he told me he's done, I believe, 6 projects, 2 features, 4 shorts. I could probably look. It wasn't that long ago. But either way, that's the point. Is that that's kind of like It's gonna sound kind of bad. It's like a drug dealer giving someone a little bit of crack.
Yeah, and also we're seeing what he can do with $500 in this. So what he could do with a larger budget, with a longer roll time, and everything. That's what it is. This is an example. This is a amuse bouche, a Susan. I don't know the terms. But it's a
an
sampler.
appetizer.
Yeah, it's a sampling of what you can get going forward, and I would like to see more from him.
Anthony did a feature and 4 shorts last year alone.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a busy little boy.
And that's someone that you should be crowdfunding.
Yeah, fucking
because he's producing.
Take that shit to Indiegogo, son. Last up, we got Panic. How are the effects? Were you surprised? Did it keep you on the edge of your seat?
The effects, $500 wasn't a huge budget, but I think it played with what it could with the budget that it had. I'm gonna go 3.
I was a little less generous. I give it a 2, but he did very well with what he had. I mean, there was one aspect that once you see it will make sense that I thought was done pretty well. The acting is what did it.
Yeah.
It didn't need effects, and it didn't need, a CGI Satan Frankenstein monster to get the point across. So this whole thing came down to acting for me. So I give it a 2 because I didn't find it terrifying, but I thought it did what it did well. Nothing surprised me. I wasn't on the edge of my seat. It was more of like that guy's a fucking weirdo than me being scared.
And part of it too is with the actress in it and the situation she was in as I was watching it, and maybe because of the fact that it was a little bit more low end on how it was shot and stuff, was that it kind of reminded me of Megan is Missing.
Yes.
And so I was maybe a little bit more anxious because I've seen that kind of movie, and that movie is not an easy one to get through as it is. And I'm not saying that this is it. We've reviewed Megan is Missing before. I know that affected people who watched the show or listened to the show. We got a very intricate email from Maggie about it when she watched it and how it affected her. This is not going to put you in that state, but it certainly seems like if it was taken to a larger sense, that's probably where it would have wound up.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's
refactory, a little nap.
Give me like 20 minutes.
I need to put on my breathing machine, otherwise I'll die.
You need a ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Maybe
some ice cubes on my junk.
All about snuggles.
Make that come back to life.
Jesus. We're gonna need to perform a seance on my penis. Bring it back to life.
No hot wax.
Yeah, right. Watch the pubes. All right, let's FAP round 2. I don't have the sound ready, so you only get FAP Cave sound once. I'm not going to describe every category this time. You already got it. If you listen to it. But The Void feature.
Story original, absolutely, with a lot of homages in it. But they did something of their own accord. The acting, I thought, was really good. I had zero questions of whether I was buying into what people were doing. I'm kind of in love with this movie, so I'm going to say 5.
Wow. That's the easiest way to Corey's heart. I'm going to go with a 4. I mean, I thought it was really original. It was pretty cool. The acting was good, but I still am super let down that there was no backstory on the cult. The attention.
I own this. I will never not own this.
Well, if you purchase something, you own it. You own it forever.
No, that's not the way it is on the digital age. You basically are just renting shit from fucking Disney and whatever.
Only if you buy it on iTunes and then you uninstall iTunes and you unauthorize all of your computers.
I'm sorry. I'm very glad to have this movie. I'm I'm glad that I had the excuse to rewatch it in such a short time. But am I going to rewatch it every week? No. But is it going to be, if I want to watch a horror movie, is it going to be one of the ones that I'm going to pick first? Probably. I'll say 4.
I guess I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I do intend to rewatch this movie. I want to rewatch this movie. I just don't know at what point I will actually rewatch this movie because I'm a bitch.
Watch it while you're
not drunk
and not fapping. I mean, if you're into it, you can. But when you get to your new house and you're kind of like killing time there and just finally relaxing after you've done all the shit that you need to do.
I have 105 bottles of beer. I'm going to start with those. And you told me I can't get drunk and watch this, so I can't.
That'll definitely get the fapping down, I guess.
Well, you know, I like to get a solid buzz and just rub out that easy one.
Yeah.
Speaking of rubbing out that easy one, let's talk about the Panic of the Void.
God. It's from a effects standpoint, I can't imagine anything that would have made me happier than what they did with this film. With especially if you consider the budget that they had, there was certainly, again, homages to things that have come before, but I think a lot of originality at the same time. Was I surprised? Yeah, the story pulled me along at a brisk pace and kept me interested the whole time, kept on the edge of my seat. Yeah, I'm gonna say 4.5.
Oh, that's awfully sweet of you. I give it a 4. I thought the effects were really good. Nothing scared me. I didn't think the movie was scary in any way, shape, or form. But much like the acting carried the audition, and I don't mean that in a bad way, the effects carried the Void.
Yeah. I think it was really good acting, but the effects were a point above it.
Absolutely. Oh, fuck, where'd you go? Lost it. All right, you can contact us by leaving us a voicemail at 805-328-3966. You can email us at pot@gncast.com. I'll read your email. I'll try really fucking hard to not forget your name 3 weeks later when we talk about you. You can leave us a voicemail on the website, or excuse me, you can leave us a message on the website. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Podcast Chair. You can subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any of your favorite podcatchers. Make sure you leave us feedback. Can't really urge you enough. I get tickled on the inside when there's feedback. I really appreciate it, and I know Corey does too. So we want to hear what you guys have to say.
I also get tickled on the inside on Grindr.
All the subscription options and links can be found at gncast.com/subscribe. Finally, you can join us on our Facebook for the entire network, which is the Galactic Network. Corey, you're not our guest. Where can people find you, though?
You can find the comics that I help make at don'taskcomics.com. You can find my wife's art, which I think might be getting featured on our local horror TV show, Circus of Chaos. I just got an email back from Cousin Dave on that. You can find her stuff on Instagram at hag_attack, or you can go to arthag.com, which is her still in progress website that I'm working on.
Oh boy, you should get your shit together. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and on Tapped if you want to see how drunk I get at Matt the Lifeguard. That is going to do it for another episode of the podcast, Derek. Thank you guys for listening. All right. I'm going to kill YouTube here. Nicole, I think you're the only one still here. Thank you for hanging out. It was a pleasure. Sorry if I offended you. I don't know. I may have offended her. May have not.
I think Nicole's made of stronger stuff than what we can do to her.
That's true. She watches all those weird Korean movies. The weird Korean horror movies. Now you just made me sound like a fucking dick by not at least... God, fuck you, Corey.
I just made you sound like a dick by letting you say what you're going to say.
That happens more often than I'd like to admit. That sounds like a challenge. She said we have to work really hard to offend her. And that literally sounds like a challenge.
She has fucking stood her own with us more than once. And
literally twice. Hopefully a third time in the near future, as long as she doesn't want to watch a Korean movie.
And it's challenged us on a lot of things. So
that's true.
I'm not throwing down against Nicole. I'm standing next to Nicole for whatever she throws down against.
So why you gotta be a dick?
That's not.
Just fucking leave me high and dry, all on my own.
I mean, you could be in the back, mumbling at your penis.
How small it is. Yeah. Why can't you be bigger like all the other boys' penises? Oh no, that sounds terrible. All right, I'm gonna turn YouTube off before something bad happens. Nicole, thank you again. We're not watching Train to Busan. Probably said it wrong. Either way, I'm turning fucking YouTube off. But thank you for hanging out. We will be in touch soon. Once I move, we will we'll pick up a date and have you on to party hardy.